Welcome. I'm just going to let you guys know right out of the gate. We have a delay, but there are technical difficulties. We are going to work through them. If you guys cannot hear us, put a trash bucket in the chat, but we're going to try to work with the delay. It's like a 2.5 second delay. Hey, Monique. Hey, Visionary Queen. I love her.
Hey,
you got to follow Visionary Queen on Instagram because she is funny as I don't know what. Anyway, sorry.
Hey, Monique.
Anyway,
hey, Gwendolyn.
How was your week? Gwendolyn? Yes, I'm sorry. So how was your week? Because you were frustrated when I see you before we just went live.
My gosh. I have the biggest middle finger possible for traffic. Traffic sucks. Like, and I guess I'm spoiled because I've been working from home for too long. So it's one of those things where I don't want to necessarily get used to it, but I just got to find my ebb and flow or whatever. But okay, so as far as the week, it's been pretty good so far.
Get used to what?
The traffic. I'm like, I got to get used back to the traffic, but
either.
No, I don't want to do that.
I really can't get used to this expecting me to come into the office multiple days a week. Like, what is that?
What is that? And I was just,
we don't live there anymore.
But a sense of calm did come over me when I was sitting in traffic because I was like, you know what? There's nothing you can do about this. You know what I mean? So it was one of those things where I was irritated and I was like, why aren't they moving? Why aren't they moving? Don't they know I have to be somewhere? And then I was like, just thinking of that scene.
You know what? And the moment that you feel like that, I'm sorry, the moment that you feel like that is, well, what I usually do is I'd be like, you know what? Calm down.
Yeah.
Because you might be missing something that you're not supposed to be in right now. So just chill out. I always get where I need to be when I need to be there. But it's so hard to do that in the moment. It'd be like, what the is going on?
Hey, Ellen.
Hey, Ellen.
Hey, fourth quarter.
Hey, James. What's up, bro?
So check this out.
I'm about to share Visionary Queen Instagram, but you go ahead.
I had that feeling today too, where I was just like, let me just have that sense of calm come over me. And what was funny is I had envisioned that one scene from Bruce Almighty where all the traffic, like everybody just parked and he just drove right through. And I was like, okay, that's not going to happen, but it was fun to think about. So that's just how my week has been going. It's actually, life is going good, but I'm just really impatient. So that's basically, summing it up, what I experienced in traffic. You know what I mean? It's just like, what's taking so long? We're winning, right?
Well, let me ask you a question. How long does it take you to get to work?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
No, I got to say something stupid.
Yeah, on average, it takes us about 20 to 25 minutes to get to work, and that's with a little light traffic. So I can't even really complain. And I feel like it probably took, because I had to go and pick James up, it took me 30 minutes to get to him, but then it took about maybe 20 more minutes. So it was probably about an hour, and that's really bad traffic. So I got to be grateful. Oh my gosh, King got something to say. About everything. Okay, so how was your week?
It takes me an hour to get to work with no traffic. And if it's traffic, it could take, oh my goodness. Come here. Hold on, y'all. Sorry.
He wants to be on camera.
Nah, somebody's outside.
Oh, okay. He's having a fit. I love it though. Go ahead and speak to him, King. He don't like traffic neither. That's what that was. He was having my back, and I appreciate that. She said, my traffic is rolling over and grabbing my laptop. Yeah, typically that's my traffic too, which is probably why I was so perturbed, right? Like having to go through actual traffic. I only go in like once, maybe twice a week sometimes. So normally it is like, I love I love just rolling over, grabbing my laptop, or just like going into my little office space. Like, okay, I'm here, I'm logging in, but it just is not. It's not for me to be dealing with traffic on a regular basis. So I got to be grateful, like she said, though, because it's not all the time. It's just once a
Okay,
week, so
so
I can do.
I'm the same way though. I don't have to go in every day, but the days that I have to go in, I just be like, why? I don't understand. But what
Why?
I do is I go in and I do what I gotta do, and I be like, all right, see y'all next time I'm here. But coming home, it could take me, depending if I don't leave in time, it could take me like 2 hours, and I'd be so
Oh,
mad if it goes over the time that the GPS say. I'd be so mad.
you shut your mouth right now. 2 hours. 2 hours. My
I got
goodness.
audiobooks and I'll be watching videos, Well, I don't be looking at the videos because I be driving, but I be listening to videos and stuff like that.
Ellen in the building. Hey, Ellen. Well, I think I already said hey, Ellen, but I just saw the thing again, and I was just like, that's
Yeah,
my
I'm
dog
trying
right
to
there.
go through all the comments.
So,
I
wait,
know that's
how was
right.
your
I'm hating
week?
on Ellen.
I wanted to talk about how was your week first.
Well, let me think about it. I went in the office twice already this week and I got to go in tomorrow again. I was like,
Mm,
okay. But
what are
tomorrow
they
is like a
doing?
team lunch or whatever, but I'm like, still, but
What are they
um
thinking about?
other than that, what have I done this week that was out of the norm? I went back. I started going back to the gym because I did not go to the gym at all last week. Um, but yeah, I think that's all I did. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, that's all I did was go to work and come home and like get into the drama that was on fucking YouTube.
So let's jump right on in then, because
Oh my goodness.
I wasn't privy to it. I saw some things, but I didn't. I wasn't a front row, and I
Yes.
want you to tell me what happened, please.
Okay, so I'm not going to take up too much time with this because it's just too much. But a couple of things that you probably missed was okay, that we did the reunion thing, but after the reunion, um, Clifton had like a small like little thing on somebody's channel, and he basically, and then Joy had an interview on Instagram. But they're both saying that the kid came out and said that there was a kiss off camera, and both Joy and Clifton are denying it, saying nobody knows anything about that. But Clifton, when I watch Clifton, I will say this: I have the rose-colored glasses removed now. He totally came off like, dude, for real. He basically said that he was playing her the whole time. He wasn't never interested in her. He ain't never want to kiss her or
Oh,
whatever, and all that, right? He was giving all that kind of energy, and honestly, we'll never find out what really happened because the stance that they're taking is prove it, and it's like you're
there is
asking me
no
to
proof
prove
if it was
that I
off
kissed
camera.
somebody, but it's just really like, why are we going down that road or whatever? And
Yeah,
they said that she want, he said they want the kid to keep their name out of her mouth, and I was like, I don't know that I've ever heard anybody but Will Smith as a dude say keep somebody's name out your mouth, but whatever. But dude, y'all just finished the show. Yeah, it happened months ago for y'all, but for us, the shit just ended last week. So it's all like shit that we're gonna be talking about.
yeah, it's fair game. Like, we're
Sorry
gonna
not to
talk
say
about it,
anything about
guys.
y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
it's unfortunate that has occurred. I did happen to catch that
hold
Dakia.
on. Monique stupid. Hey, goody. We talking about. I'm filling her in on what she missed after the reunion. I'm telling her about Clifton's little mini conversation about how they're both saying that the kid's lying. And then Paul had an interview with Kamisha, which was pretty good, and he gave a lot of behind the scenes stuff as far as like how they be walking past with their iPhones saying, say this or whatever kind of stuff. And that interview was good. So you get a chance to watch that. Go to Kamisha's channel and watch that. Oh, and shout out to Kamisha, because if you guys saw the thumbnail, Kamisha did that for us. So hit her
Yes,
up.
thank you, Kamisha.
Um, but yeah, I mean, pretty much it's like we're all over it. And the interviews are gonna come. I kind of want to see a couple of different interviews, but other than that, I'm just kind of like, okay, y'all, you know. So
Yeah, now it's interesting because now we get to hear about the process. Like we've seen the show, but I think
mhm.
now we're so interested in like the behind the scenes because some of the things on the show just didn't give all the information. So it just makes you pose some questions like, well, how did this occur? If what was happening? What was even happening? You know what I mean? So it's like
Mhm.
you want a few more details. So they're just gonna have to be okay with the fact that, like, listen, this is what happens when you're on a show. And then 2 years from now, somebody's gonna see the show for the first time, perhaps. And then they're gonna start up another conversation. But it's still fresh for us. We didn't experience it. There were several scenes that we did not see. So I definitely am interested. Also, I did want to mention that I did see one interview, which was the kid talking to someone. I think her name was Crystal. I cannot remember her.
Oh yeah, that's
But
good. That's one of the own ladies.
that was a really good interview, and it made me change my perspective a little bit because I was certainly before just going off of what was produced, the produced product of the show,
Mhm.
right? What I understood to be the case from the information and the visuals that I experienced from watching the show. But then she just introduced a few more details that made things more clear, which
Mhm.
was refreshing. So yeah,
So,
I
okay, so
watched
that's
it.
gonna happen. But what happens is now you have to string together the context that you get from several different interviews. You know what I'm saying? But another thing, she said Cliff capital F's. Another thing too is the kid did say that Clifton FaceTimed her with his children in the background. I think she said that in that video that you
Mm.
watched, in that interview that you might have watched. She said that in there. But it's just not a good look now, because it's like, if you're gonna go off and say now, I was never interested in her, then you're admitting that you were just fucking around and trying to stay to the end, which, okay, that's, but just, don't act like uh it didn't look like you liked her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, I
If I
think
was Joy, I would be like watching how that happened. I mean, I don't know. Oh, so then that update is now she's moving in June. She's coming back the end of May. She's moving in as soon as she gets back, and they're working on they're going half on the baby. So
well,
there's
I
that.
wish them well, but to your point, I do think that you have to look at some things that are happening because if that's the stance that he's now taking, and now I got to put my lawyer cap on, if that's the stance that he's now taking and that's now his argument that I was just trying to stay to the end and that's why I pretended to like you, then then that you could see how that's confusing to her, right? So like why are you even saying that you should have known if you were purposely leading someone on so that you could stay on a show? And that's really baffling to me, and that's why I wanted to know at several points is like, um some sort
Compensation, a
is there
prize.
some
There's
sort
no
of
prize at the end, but
compensation,
they
or
do get
is
paid.
it just like a win for them? Like my thinking is there has to be some sort of reason, or there's a word that I'm not saying, but
I would say pride, because if you're
y-
gonna go on the show and you're like, oh, I'm gonna, go find love or whatever, right? The chances of you finding it in just random 10 people, I would say, are slim. But you could go in there and be like, I'm gonna work with this. You know what I'm saying? But you might find somebody, like, I believe Clifton and Joy are like chemically, like, they
yeah,
have
for
chemistry, right?
sure. But okay, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
No, I was just saying, like, I don't know. I just keep, I try to look at everything from both sides to be objective and not to like jump over here too quickly or jump over here, or even not to take individual sides. But when I see something, I have to be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
now I'm just like going off of the way that he's conducting himself now, which yesterday it kind of seemed like it was a conversation I had and was like, well, you're going to get online and take care of that, because at this point you figure out that it's my word against whatever everybody else is saying, because if this thing can't be proven, which is crazy to me, to be like, somebody be like, I fucking man, like, really prove it. Like, where's the draws that you had on that? What the fuck? Like, I
Right,
don't
right,
need to
right.
do that. So it's just like, okay, um, it's not, it's just leaving a bad taste in my mouth as far as I'm concerned, because I do feel like the kid carried herself very well. I don't know what the hell she's doing, what she was doing off camera, because they wouldn't know that, right? And it's like they're still talking in these circles, as
Yeah.
to, I guess, not to give away what they're gonna do on their exclusive interviews or whatever. But like, everybody wants to know like what happened. If somebody did some fucked up shit behind the scenes, whoever it is, it should come out. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
I agree, but I think the word I was looking for earlier was incentive. Also,
know.
I'm laughing
Mm-hmm.
at Ellen's comment about the
Too.
Walmart key. The Walmart key had Joy blinded. Yes, I agree. But here's the thing, like, it feels really icky when you're in a relationship with someone who ends their past, ties in an ugly way. Feels really icky because you have to be thinking and considering that you could somehow be on the end of that energy at some point. So I
So
think
okay, so vice versa too. Like the energy that she was having on the stage, which they did explain a little bit behind that. They cut some of her stuff out, and she felt like she was making points that didn't get proven. It just looked like she was mad for nothing. But um, but yeah, so it's just like he's going to catch that wrath at some point too. Maybe he already has, who knows. Um but yeah, she also said, Clifton also said, the kid was in on the plot, that they all that Joy made a comment, like when she was out of, I guess when Eric had left. I can't remember if it was Eric. I think it was when Eric left, but she was like, she thought she might go home, and so they said Joy said something like, oh, Clifton got you, he'll keep everything going. So he was basically saying that when the cameras were rolling, he was acting. That's
which and that,
basically
this is what I'm saying. Now this is your argument. You know
no,
what
but
I'm
he
saying?
said they had a pact.
My thought is this: what is the incentive in doing that? I just don't understand. Because here's the thing: if Joy and Clifton knew, right, that, oh, we need to explore this, there's something here, which I fully think that there is, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the point if one of them gets voted off? It doesn't matter. You have each other.
I
Like,
mean, I
it
think
doesn't
that if
matter if you
he
stay to the
got
end. What's
voted
the
off,
incentive?
she would have probably left if he got voted off. But like, yeah, I mean,
Vice versa.
in a general sense, if you're thinking, okay, I actually found somebody that I liked, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. At some point, it turns into a game. Oh, but the other thing that I wanted to add too was that when they went on the retreat, so it was confirmed that Tina was there the second day. I don't know if I told you this last week. She was there the second day. Paul insinuated that she wasn't able to be presentable, and
Mm.
so they kept her up there to worry about that. And then so Joy was saying that the way that the house was set up, nobody had a private room. Like even Donovan and Carmen, there was another bunk bed in there, so it was somebody else in there. And the bed that her and Clifton was in, somebody, Demetrius, was in the bed across, like in front of them, and there was like a way to look down in all the in the rooms that were open, right? So she was like, there was no hanky panky or whatever. But like, people do shit in the movies all the time when other people are around.
I'm just saying,
Whatever.
weren't we all teenagers? Okay,
Listen,
anyway,
I
we're not gonna
digress.
go there. We're not gonna go there because that's way too rated, whatever. And I don't want my nephew to be watching this like, ew, TT. So, so anyway,
Hey,
um,
I was watching Tyron's Millionaire Man Cave last
yes,
week. And if y'all not following RETV, Relationship Entertainment Television, definitely follow. It's a black network. They have black shows about entrepreneurs. I'm on there. Anyway, they do the Millionaire Man Cave on Tuesdays, where like all there is four married men, and they talk about a lot of different topics. And sometimes they let the women take over, but
I'm
this
laughing at. I'm
uh,
sorry, laughing at that comment you put up there. Monique's comment: the incentive is
the
that $32 Golden Corral gift card they get paid. Oh my God! They
the
after the.
I'm
Mm-mm-mm.
sorry. Go ahead. We got a stupid delay.
No, it's all good. No, no, no. I was just
No,
laughing
I
at
was just
that.
gonna say I was piggybacking on what you were saying about your nephew seeing it or whatever, but they got into talking about like women grooming, And so one of the dudes was like, I just put like a skull face because I was like, I can't believe y'all talking about this right now. But then he was like, oh, she must have Bush down there or whatever. And he was like, what's down there? And I was just like, bruh, I'd prefer to not to confirm or deny in front of my cousin. Like, what the hell?
Oh yeah, that can get a little
I was like,
a
what are
little
y'all
weird.
doing? Anyway, we
No,
can move on from this. I just wanted to fill you in on the stuff that you missed about that, but I know you had some other great stuff to talk about today.
I do. So, yeah, there were a couple of things that I don't remember whether I talked about or not over the past couple of weeks because we were reviewing, but there was one thing that I'll start out with. Um, and I'm just all about what's happening this summer in the city and on the outskirts. Like I just feel like, COVID be gone, even though it's not really gone, guys. I'll still be wearing my mask like a motherfucker. but um yeah, but there's this thing that's happening downtown on June 17th through 19th, which is Juneteenth weekend. First of all, let me pause for the cause for that. This is the second year that Juneteenth is going to be celebrated as a federal holiday. I'm very excited about it. It kind of makes me angry a little bit because it's like the irony is not lost on me that like we're getting this holiday, we're not getting any monetary, we're not getting any land. It's fine, but even this holiday is funny to me because it's like we should have been at least had the holiday, right? Like we basically like built this country, but it's okay. But it's funny because the irony of the actual thing that we're celebrating is the fact that no one told the slaves down in the South that they were free. And so this is so funny. So anyway, that's just a whole sidebar. What I was going to say was that there's a festival happening, or I don't know if they call it a festival. I'm calling it a festival. It's called Something in the Water, and it's like a music festival that Pharrell is bringing to Washington D.C. Now, something interesting about this is that he used to do it in his, I guess, near his hometown in Virginia, and they're bringing it to D.C. this year. There's a little slight controversial, side eye about this because there are some people who are, irritated that that this festival costs so much, and they're concerned that the people who would typically attend these sorts of things won't be able to afford it. So the people in DC, for instance, that live in low you know in communities that aren't high grossing, that don't earn a lot, like this is happening in their city and they're not going to be able to take advantage of it. So that's one thing that people are saying, but it looks like it's a bomb festival, and you could go to somethinginthewater.com to see what's actually going to be happening. The tickets start at $250, I think, but that's like a general pass, and I think those are even sold out. So it's from this June 17th through the 19th. It's supposed to be Independence Avenue. I don't think it's going to be outside, even though the flyer looks like it's on the National Mall. But they're going to have a bunch of people here. Backyard's supposed to be playing. Obviously, um, a couple of local acts, but like John Batiste, Lil Uzi Vert, Lucky Day, just to name a few. Dave Matthews Band, Chloe and Halle. We're looking at Ashanti, Ja Rule, Rare Essence. A lot of people. Mariah the Scientist, Usher, Tyler the Creator, and then they have, and some people we can't announce, which to me means they're bigger names than what Pusha T. They're bigger names than those. Some people we can't announce, like what is Beyonce going to be there? I guess you wouldn't be able to announce that, right? So yeah, Calvin Harris. I feel like this is this is yet another confirmation that the world is opening back up. I feel like the vibe in the city is going to be fire. To the person's point, and I can't remember her name, but she was on the news saying like, this isn't fair to the people who live here, that there's going to be something coming to town that they can't take advantage of because they're out of, out of the bracket of earning that would require, that you would have to make a certain amount of money to be able to go to this. My thing about that is like people come to
What are
town
you
all the
talking about?
time.
What did you say the tickets were?
So a pass started
Oh,
at passes started at like 250, but now they only have like the top
that
tier.
better be fun.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, like, if you can't go, you can't go. There's plenty of people who come to town who can't go. But it did remind me of those block parties they used to have back in the day when we was younger. I remember we're gonna date ourselves here, but everybody, whatever. Just know that I'm 40. And I remember when Salt and Pepper came to town with EU, and it was free. And we went right down the street, and they were playing outside. It was a bunch of people out there performing that were like celebrities, you know what I mean? And it was free. It was a block party. They used to do stuff like that all the time in DC. So, I mean, but those days, are they? I don't know if they're gone, but they're few and far in between. But yeah, it just reminded me of like the feeling that you get
Yeah,
when these
it's
sorts
not
of
the
things.
same.
It's not. It's not the same. And even back then, like I remember, our mom used to be concerned, like, you can't be out after a certain amount of time. Which brings me to another point. I do want you to weigh in on this, but I was just saying something to James the other day that I was laughing at. But it's a thing where, it's the culture. Like we want to be a part of things, but is Wiley gonna be there? Probably. He probably is gonna be there. Like how could he
I was
let
about
this
to
come to
say,
town?
yeah,
Tiana
and
Taylor.
like Essence gonna be there too. Like they all kind of roll together. I mean, not together. What I'm
Yeah,
saying,
I think
they all know each
no,
other,
yeah, in the
so
same circles for sure.
he probably come out and support. I would think, but I ain't gonna go $400 to go out. It's outside.
But I don't think it's outside actually. But the thing is, like, how the city is. Like, if there's something going on, you could be in the area and still catch the vibe. And there's still lots of activity and vendors
True.
and things like that. It's not like it's all lost. You might not, if you can't afford to go, you can't afford to go. Right? Like, they didn't have one of these last year or the year before. So, like, you're not really missing out. It's just that you can't
I
afford to
mean,
go. You know what I
everybody's
mean?
probably they're probably going to go to a lot of events that they would not have normally gone to because the world was shut down for so long. So like
Yeah.
this summer is going to be off the chain. That's all I
Letty.
got to say.
It's
Oh my
definitely gonna
gosh.
be lit this summer. I just already know that. But so yeah, and that brought me into my next thought or topic, which was there's a lot of stuff going on. There's Awesome Con. I don't know how many people are actually going to be going to something like this. I think people know at this point what Comic Con is, or people kind of like get together and they
Mm-hmm.
put on costumes and stuff like that. This one's actually happened June 3rd through 5th at the convention center. But it's something fun. If you've never been to one and it's in DC, you might as well just go check it out. It's not, I mean, to me it's not super exciting, but it's probably a good time, especially if you have kids, I would think. um but actually the
Yeah, I
real
just
the
love
real
to see the people walking around in these costumes.
yeah, the real question I
Like
had.
walking down U Street trying to go to a bar and you look like Princess Leia and shit like that.
Yeah, but it's so funny, like, to see people get angry and you're an adult in a full costume. Like, you can't be angry, lady. You're playing make believe. Like, you gave up all rights to
Nice,
be angry.
goody.
So anyway, my
I
real
know, right?
question though was about
Afro Fest.
how do we meet people these days, right? Like, I know this whole COVID thing happened, but like, what is how do you even meet new people these days? I just don't even know. Like, I was looking up some things, some brunches, some mixers, some, parties and things like that. But I mean, don't nobody be wanting to go to a party. You can't really, all the time. And I'm
I
trying to figure
mean,
out, how do you get out and meet people these days? Like, well, even
so
friends,
you have
relationships.
half of the people who are not trying to go out, right? You have half the people who are like, it's still COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess the other people that don't mind do go to parties and stuff like that. But like online dating was really a thing for people, a lot of people in my circle, but it didn't work for me. I don't like it. But
Yeah.
I know a couple of people who had success with it or whatever, but I need to see you in person and see what the swag hitting on when you walk up to me versus
Yes.
let you talk to me and then I get there and you just no,
Yeah.
sir. I don't want to have
Yeah.
to hurt nobody's feelings or nothing like that. But dudes be jumping out their lanes a lot. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have all your teeth, sir.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's so easy to get catfished, when you're not in person. So I mean, I'm no hater shade to anybody who is doing that, but I've seen so many sides to that coin of online dating that I would just be so leery to it. But I mean, I'm even thinking about meeting just people that I'm not looking for a relationship, but I'm looking to meet people. I like to meet people, and I just wanted to know, like, what is the best place to meet people. But at the same time, like, for relationships, man, y'all, I done seen some stuff. I used to work with this dude when I was bartending, and he would we worked in a hotel out in a nice part of Virginia. I think it wanted to say it's like Arlington or something. It's a nice hotel. I won't name the name of the hotel, but it was an upscale hotel.
I remember that
And
you paid this.
I used to get pissy. Like, there were times that, okay, this is not part of the subject, but there were times that I would get paid from my regular job. That was my part-time job. I would get paid for my regular job. I remember one of my coworkers, we were in the office one day, and she was like, "Yes, and we got paid yesterday," and da 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 da. And I was like, "We got paid yesterday?" She was like, "How do you not know that?" And I was just like, "Oh, because I was getting paid from that other job. I was making hourly money plus tips. Plus, they would have these parties where people would just come and tip extra on top of the gratuity. So I was getting paid sometimes more than my regular job at that part-time job. And
That's
it would just be,
crazy.
yeah, I was just like, wow, this is wild. But anyway, long story short, um, I used to work with this one guy who would, I want to say, I don't know if it was Match.com or what, but he was a bartender with me. And the way it would work is, one person would come in and like open up the bar for the nighttime, and then the other person would close, or you could close together or whatever. This
Mm-hmm.
dude would come in, and I would come in and open. So like it maybe like at 5 o'clock, because it was like a chill lounge at the hotel. So I would come in maybe like 5 o'clock, set up the bar. He would come in at like 6, and then he would invite somebody that he met online to come to the bar. And this was like every day. He would have a new chick there, and then he would want to leave at like 7:30. Like, mind you, you've been here for an hour and a half, and you've been wrapping up this chick the whole time. You haven't made no drinks, and now you want to leave. But I would be like, yeah, just get out of here, man. And he was a cool dude. He was a cool dude. He was the first person who ever told me that how to jailbreak a phone, but I never did it. But I was just like, he was explaining it to me because he also had another job. He was like an engineer or whatever. But I just remember him coming up there and every single time, like every single night, because I probably used to work like 3 times a week. If I worked with him all 3 days, he would have a different girl come to the bar every night. And I was like, you realize that they know where you work, right? So if your Tuesday girl comes on a Thursday, that's just gonna mess everything up for you, right? And I remember the look on his face, like, I didn't think about that. And I was just like, as you were,
That
sir.
was just getting through the workday
Oh my
easy.
God.
Like, I mean, honestly, it's like, okay, it is kind of, yeah. But dudes think so differently. Like, they're all about like the quantity of shit, right? Not the quality. And he wasn't even thinking about if something went bad. Now they all know where you work at.
They all know where you work at. And can you
So,
imagine? And I never saw anything pop off, but I can only imagine if someone were like, oh, you know where he works now. Like, you could just come up there, surprise him and
mm,
see him talking to another chick, and then it's over, and then she could just make a scene. I'm like, this is not a good look, man. I don't want to see this happen to you. But
yeah,
I never
nah.
saw anything happen to him, but I actually ended up leaving that job sometime after that. And I
But
was
you
just
know how
like,
dudes are. They're gonna go on until they get caught and then still go do it somewhere else. So
yeah, for sure. For sure. But anyway, I wondered how people meet these days, especially post COVID. Like it's not even post COVID for real. But I'm just thinking to myself like, how do
I
people
mean,
meet?
there's still like regular places like the grocery store or but I've honestly never been hollered at in a grocery store and I've never gotten the urge to try to approach somebody in the grocery store. Maybe it's the grocery stores I go to, but grocery store, like whatever errands you run, you know what I'm saying? I don't see my delivery people, so I don't know. But me personally is so redundant.
No,
For myself,
myself.
I don't know. I like the old fashioned way of going out and just, meeting people that way. Like whatever events I'm going to, who maybe there's somebody there that I will connect with like that. Like I don't know. The online dating wasn't for me, but that's what a lot of people have been doing. But now they're also doing like at the beginning of the pandemic, they were doing like virtual speed dating. They're having a bunch of speed dating events or whatever around the area too.
Yeah.
And now that everything's open back up, like it's about to be summertime. It's going to be cookout. Somebody's having a Memorial Day cookout already. They already got the invite out or whatever. I'm going to go to that.
Yes.
So just stuff like that. But if I was to say, okay, let me go meet somebody, like I feel like I would have to go out to an event. But usually when I go out to the events, it's never hitting on what I thought as far as the attendees are concerned. I just be like, okay,
It's kind of
well,
funny you mentioned that because it's like you kind of have to go and find the diamond in the rough too. And maybe that person's there just as bored as you are, like no one's here. Oh, but look at this one, right? It's probably just like one or two because most people are
yeah.
probably just there,
I
doing
mean,
the most of the least.
I went to this the last time I did something on a whim. Like it was this guy that I know that was promoting a party, and I was like, oh well, why not? I'll go. It's a day party. It's not late at night. I could just go and have some fun. It's like it was close. I was like, all right. The band that was there was good,
Yeah.
but when I went and I first of all I was looking at all of my ladies. I was like, so I'm here and you here too, like looking like that. we
Mm,
we are not in the same place together, are we?
mm,
And then I was like, all right, you can't be judging people off of what they had, the choices they had to wear. Some of this stuff was like, that's probably what she had. But then I just started looking at everybody else that was there, and I was just like, that was a bust. But that was just one event that was a bust. Everywhere else that I've been has been nice, but I don't know. I don't know. This area is weird though, because I don't want to say, I don't want to speak down on the area as a whole, but there's a lot of fuckboys here. So
for sure. I'm looking at Monique's comment about I'm giving up on meeting my husband at the grocery store. I feel like this about the grocery store.
hey, first home tuber.
It could have your husband there, but like how often do you go and look for the husband there? How often does the man go and look for his wife at there? But I mean, the person could be there. It reminds me of this really funny pickup line that
Most
somebody used on me once. Unfortunately for him, I was already taken, but I when he said it, I actually gave him a look like, I see what you did there. That was good. That was good, my friend. But I, had already met my husband at the time. So it was just like, if I were on the market, that would have caught my attention, but I'm not. But I'm going to tell you what he said in a second. But there's a couple of things like, are we really looking for the person, right? What would you say? What would you respond to, right? If somebody came up to you, and I'm going to tell you what he said, but I want to know your answer to that. What is the kind of thing that you would respond to? Would they have to come up and be like, what you cooking tonight? Or you got something in for me? Or where you going with all that food? Or, right? Like how could somebody approach you? Or how could you, right? Like see
so
someone and
okay.
approach them. It's interesting to me. I want to
I
know.
probably would not approach anybody. Um, well, okay, I won't say that. I'm just saying, like, I haven't seen anybody in the grocery store that I wanted to like follow with my cart or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time, I see dudes in there with their girls, and so
Mm.
I really just be like running in the store and running. I don't be paying attention to people, but if somebody came up, people have tried to holler or whatever, but it's never anything substantial to make me like even stop. I just usually be like, oh, how you doing? Oh, yep, I got a boyfriend, thank you. Even if I don't.
See?
I just be like, I'm in here grocery shopping. I got tampons in the car. I'm trying to work with, but at the same time, I think that it also is like, kind of messed up because it just means you didn't pass the look test. You know what I'm saying? Which is why I don't like online dating, because I can never do that to you online. But if I see you walk up and your pants are sagging down and you smell like weed, move along, sir.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, also the thirst be real sometimes. It's just like, dog, have you eaten today? Not even like the thirst of like food, but just kind of like when a dude approaches you, especially when you know you looking like not your best. Like I'm looking kind of raggedy today and you're just all into that. It's just like, oh, perhaps we're misaligned here.
see, but raggedy is like raggedy is, what's the daggone word that I'm looking for?
It's
Suggestive.
relative.
Yeah,
It's relative.
So you might look raggedy to yourself because I usually dress like this, but to the average person, they might not be looking at that. And obviously, they're never looking at that, right? But I don't know, man. I just never had luck at the grocery store. I did have this one dude that I used to mess with that I had to end up cutting off because he kept on talking about his ex being a narcissist, but like as we went on in our little talking stage or whatever, I started to realize that his ass was the narcissist. So I did what I told you last week. I want you to go ahead and do what you were doing before I met you, and I'm going to go ahead and do what I was doing. And I was just left him like that. And I just never responded to him again after I wrote that nice little text or whatever. As a matter of fact, he asked me, was I able to get past whatever had happened? And I was like, no, deal breaker for me. It was not. I wish you well, though. Hope you find what you're looking for. But 6 months later, I'm in a grocery store with Earl, walking around or whatever, and I see this Bama, and I immediately was like, oh shit, and I like dipped into like an aisle or whatever. He saw me, and
he saw you, and he didn't care. He saw you dodge him too.
Did that,
he was like, "Hey, I know you see me."
He sent me a text and was like, "That was strange. Can we talk?" And I was like, "What the fuck?" And so I was like, "Well, I'm not answering that. I'm in here with my son. I'm shopping."
I was joking. So, he actually did notice that you dodged him.
And he texted me. He was like, "That was strange. Can we talk?" Oh, that felt strange. Can we talk? And I just like was walking around the store. I was like, "I'm not responding to this text. I'm not gonna act like I'm gonna act like I didn't even get this text." So I'm going onto the aisles, but I got my peripheral like set, like so if I see him, I could go the other way. And so he ends up walking. I'm in the aisle and I see him walk past, and I try to go out the aisle, and he backs back and comes down the thing. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm not gonna run out of the aisle. I'm just gonna keep walking. You know what I'm saying? And so I kept walking, and he was like, "Can we talk?" I was like, "No. How are you though?" All right, thanks. And I just let it ride because I was like, no, it's no reason for us to talk. Like, you stuck me in the grocery store. Like, what are you doing? So anyway, niggas are weird these days. So that's why I just be like,
I see opportunity here. Because I'm a married person and I want everyone to find love, perhaps we should hold more social events at the grocery store, right? You know how they have like sip and paints? Maybe to Monique's point, we could have like, you know how they have those stations with the samples? They should have like come up and cooks or just little events. I mean, I'm just thinking about like they should have things at the grocery store so that people can come and mingle and notice one another. I don't know. I'm just making this up.
For you to be like, well, you're not on the market, you're married. But I'm trying to think, what would I look at and be like, oh, I might go up there. Well, if they had crabs, I'll go up there. If they're having,
or if they just had like wine, like, you know what I'm saying? Like bring your, like, I don't know what they would do, but if they just had like a little wine bar,
have like a little block party outside, like they
wine and cheese, or just kind of like they could have little social stations where it's like, I don't know. I'm just brainstorming here, but I could come up with some real fruitful ideas and post them to nice grocery stores. So now you got my juices flowing.
That might be like a good little thing for people who don't go out. So first off, she was in a high fuckboy area last week. This guy pulled up and said, "Do you have Cash App Roselle?" Didn't even start with his name.
Oh my gosh. No, now let me.
That I hear happens. Like dudes be trying to send Cash Apps or whatever, I guess, to get the woman to be with them or have sex with them at the very least or whatever. But I also heard from guys that when they're dating online, that girls are talking to them and asking them to cash app them. I, I
Mm.
I've not
Yeah, so
I didn't know.
there's parties involved that are just misaligned on levels. I feel like there is a population of people though who are trying to meet each other, but they keep running into these fuckboys and idiot ass women, and then they give up. And they're like, "Fuck it, I just want to go about my life."
I
Right?
mean,
But
because
there's
at
a
this stage it's
population of
like,
people who are missing each other because they're like, I really wish I could find a person like this. But then it's just not working out. Now, let me tell you this one pickup line because
yes, I
I
want to
don't
hear
know
this.
that it was a pickup line. He could have been actually saying this for real, but I thought to myself, wow, that's really something to stop and make you think. And you got my attention with that one.
I can't wait
So,
to hear this.
I mean, I don't want to disappoint you. It wasn't like super profound, but like I'm walking around in the grocery store, right? Can you still hear me? I hope you're not frozen.
Yeah, I can
Oh,
still hear you.
okay, cool. So I'm walking around in the grocery store and I'm just picking up a few things. I'm not even like really grocery shopping. And I must have been like in the card aisle or maybe in the frozen aisle. I can't remember because I kind of remember where I was in the store, but I can't remember which aisle I was in. And I saw the guy looking at me. This was like literally like at least 4 to 5 years ago because I can't remember if we were already engaged or if we were just like deep into dating, but I was already taken and I knew I was already taken. Um and I must not have been engaged yet because I feel like I would have been able to say like I'm engaged and show my engagement ring. So anyway, so the guy's in there
Hey,
and
Yolanda.
I saw him looking at me and I was just kind of like, whatever, doing my thing. And he walks up to me and he says something like, I think we know each other. And like whatever his stance was, it was like, hear me out. He's like, I think we know each other. And I was just like ready to tell him, no, I don't think so. Have a good day. And he was like, what church do you attend? And it just gives you that
That's like
moment.
coming out on the Apollo stage and
Let me tell
singing
you
a
something.
gospel song.
Because it's like you
It
don't want
worked
to
though. That would
answer it.
work for me. I'd be
Because
like,
you're thinking to
oh,
yourself, oh, does he really
it
go
would
to
stop
my
me
church?
from being mean to him.
Right. Because the thing
Not that I'm
is,
a mean person, but it would stop me from being like, you know what I'm
look,
saying?
here's the thing. If he does actually go to my church, I can't be rude. Or even if I wasn't going to church at the time, it would be like a thing where it's just like, maybe I did see you in church one time. Or
Mm,
even if I didn't, it's just like, oh, what a nice person. It was just so many ways you could take that statement that it would give you
right.
enough pause for him to study. Right. And I think that's the thing. You gotta, not say something like just attention getting, but you have to say something that would make somebody pause and think. And in that moment, they
Yeah.
realize that they're silent, and now you have to say something. And now we're
Yeah,
in a
that would not have,
conversation. It
like,
was
maybe
like
he might not have got my number, but I would have been like, I would have stopped to give him a decent
answer.
exit. Yeah.
And the thing about it is so funny is like I recognized, so I knew
Okay.
at some point that he wasn't really like genuinely asking that. I don't know, or maybe I just assumed, but I was just like, I had an exchange with him where it was just like, I see what you did there, young man. Right? And it almost worked. Right? It was like so funny. And
Hold up.
he kind of accepted that energy like okay.
He laughed. Oh
It
my
was
God.
funny though. And then one thing that I always said that I would use because actually you remember Sean, he said this to somebody one day and it was a joke, but the way he said it was so funny that I was like, one day when I meet somebody who I feel like, oh, we could be friends, like not even an opposite sex. Like one day when I meet somebody and I just want to say something to them so that we could laugh and that's the beginning of our friendship or whatever, I'm gonna say that because the way he said it came off so funny. Now I hope I don't mess it up. But he met somebody one day that I knew and he was just making a joke, but it was so funny the way that he said it that they immediately became like tight. And he
Mm-hmm.
said this, like, say you're meeting somebody and you're like, oh, hey, Demita, meet Jane. Jane, meet Demita. And then you turn to Jane and you're like, I think I know you. do you sell guns?
Oh my God.
And then
Did
he
he
was
say
just
yes?
silent after that. No, but the person
Like,
just
what?
started laughing because it's just like,
What?
what? Who are you? What are you doing? And it's just like, I definitely want to meet somebody like that one day. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I would have
all
been
right. And
like,
now I'm all the way off on a tangent. But the church thing was real
so
because I was like, you
yeah,
can't
that
really
was
shut
the
somebody down. You can't really shut somebody down after that.
yeah, you pause and how you respond to that because of that. But so she said she had a guy send money before for a date for gas and valet because it was the first date and we were meeting there. That I can understand that. But just randomly asking a dude for cash apps is like, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy.
She said I
Monique
would have
said
run
she
them.
would have she would have
The
run
guys
because
in
the
my
guys
church
in her
are weirdos. You know what? I never looked around like that. I need to
See, and
look.
that's the thing about dating in general, right? Especially if you're meeting somebody new. It's like, okay, of course, they're gonna put their best selves forward when you
Yeah.
first go out on your dates, and you're gonna, as women, sometimes we kind of build this dude up to be something that we don't even know if he is or not, but we're just like, oh, whatever. And then the weird shit starts to come out, and it's like, okay, do I really want to move forward with this? I
And
don't know,
see,
man.
that's the horrible thing about what you were telling me about potential.
Mm.
The horrible thing is that people are out there trying to put their best foot forward because that's like what we perceive as dating. But then when you
That's a
get
good one.
into a relationship, it's like, are you the local weed man? I love it.
No,
Um,
I'd use that line.
when you get into the relationship though, it's more about revealing yourself
Matter
and
of fact, I am going
understanding
to use
like,
that line.
hey, can we be together because this is my mindset and these are my habits and this is my deal and this is what my routine
Hey,
is.
Sheila.
Like, but people aren't revealing that on dates. They're just trying to make you see the best version of themselves that isn't even there, that they perceive to be. And then the first few years of a relationship are really the unveiling of the true self, not even by way of like, let me be honest now, but by
Mm-hmm.
way of like, I
You
can't
got
hold
to
it
show
in.
yourself.
Right? So it's just like, I wish that were a thing in our society where it's just like, let me just be the regular me, shitty or not, and then whatever feedback I get, I'll use and I'll take it. But like, let's just be ourselves, and then we don't have to do that whole like unveiling and shit like that. But it's just like
But people
we
can't for some reason because, okay, I think that one, you have to be comfortable with yourself. I didn't even say that right. But
mm,
anyway, you have to be comfortable with
no, I'm with
yourself
you on that.
in order to be okay to let your true self hang out, right?
Yeah.
And the premise to me is, okay, yeah, of course I want you to think that I'm attractive or whatever, but I just think that if you are yourself, whether it's awkward or whatever things you have, what you do is you repel the people who are not for
Mm,
you and you attract the people who are into the
yes.
kind of vibe you have. You know what I'm saying? But it
Yes.
took me so long to get to that point to be like, okay, with like if you don't like the real me, you know what I'm saying? I was about to say a couple of little things that I probably don't need to say on the internet. So, um, if you like me and what I'm into, right, then we good. But
Yeah.
why would I fake like I don't do this, I don't say that, I don't eat this, I don't do that, just to put myself in jail to have to be around you? Like I would rather just get that out in the open. Like, well, no,
And
this
that's
is
what I think people fail to realize, because by pretending to be the person, right, that you are not, that you don't actively that you are not, right? You
mm-hmm.
want to be this person and maybe one day you'll get to be that person, but like you're pretending on these dates that you're this guy or that you're this girl, and then let's say you catch the guy, now you're caught in a lie, or you catch the girl, now you're caught in a lie, and now you got to spend the next 2 years slowly revealing that that's not
Like that's
the
the fucking
actual
problem.
package,
You
right?
waiting for the other shoe to drop most of the time because it's like, okay, this person seems really acceptable, right? Like this is a
Yeah,
decent person. They may not be perfect, but what I know about them now, I accept them with their flaws. But then
yeah.
whatever it is that they're hiding, it's like not even hiding because I don't think everybody's hiding something. I think people are just legitimately, sir. I just
People,
think people.
I
Can you
agree.
hear him? I
Yeah,
think
he
people are
just whatever.
legitimately like afraid that people will reject them
Mm,
because of the things that they judge themselves on, when reality we all have something that we're, you know, either trying to work on, trying to stop doing, trying to
yeah,
change, and that's just part of being a person, you know what I mean? And so I feel like
yeah,
it's so much freedom just to be like, yeah, this is
man,
me, you know what I mean?
it
Like
is.
yeah, I'm not going to come out and tell you all of my like transgressions over the last 10 years or nothing like that, but if I'm in a conversation with you and we're getting to know each other, then I'll share freely as you share freely, and then that way you can make your decision up front versus, you
Yeah,
know, okay, if you
wasting
have,
time.
if you have child sex offender, if you have registered for being a child sex offender, that information needs to come out in the beginning.
Yeah, just let me
It's
know
not my
now so we
fault.
can dead this.
You're gonna need to tell people, like you're gonna lead. It's like kind of like if you have like you have to lead with that, because now I have a decision to make as to what, well, I mean, there's really no decision, but some people would like to know so that they can make a decision versus finding out something like that later. And
Yeah.
people are obviously, like I said, afraid to be rejected, but it's like, dude, like like why would you put yourself in that position? Just like
Yeah,
let
like just
it out.
get rejected up front and not have as many feelings as for the person as you will, because and I mean it's not even about, listen, I get
100%.
it. There's certain things that are not anybody's business, but that's something that somebody's going to find out at some point. And why take yourself through the heartache of pretending to be someone else and then having that be revealed, and then God forbid they find out on their own. It's just like, it's this whole
And now
song and
you look
dance.
like a
Just be who
liar and
you
we can't
are.
go back, you
Just be
know?
who you are, man. And somebody
It
will be
sounds so much
attracted to that.
easier than it really is, but
I know,
trust
I
me when I
know.
say that it is so much more freeing because, okay, you know, let's just say, yeah, let's just say, okay, yeah, I got fired from my job because this is, you know what, I'm not gonna put that on the universe, but this is just,
No, no, no. Don't say that.
I got pulled over for, I don't even want to put that out in the
I
universe. What
mean,
the
you don't want to say anything
yeah, like,
negative, but you
but like,
know,
say something happened, right? Like, I got fired for fighting at work. That's never gonna happen. But I got fired for fighting at work. Let's say that. And now I have to work a serving job, and I'm 45. Okay, you know, I'm not about to sit here and act like I got a corporate job just to try to impress you when you might have had some things that you went through and you might be
yeah.
able to help me. That's the other thing. You never know who can help you move to the next level, you know, whether it's just like encouragement, you know, somebody having support, or they may have connections that can help you do something else. And so when you act like you're something other than you're not, you try to play the representative on people. Like, I don't understand how people do that anyway, because you don't know this person. So how are you going to act like what you think they want when you don't know this
Well, you
person?
don't
You
really
still know.
know. And the thing is, we're all thirsting for authenticity because it's lacking so much. You know what I mean? So, like, just somebody being themselves as whatever as you are that you think is too much is just enough for us to just catch on and be like, you know what? And then even being yourself around other people who you're not like necessarily trying to date. Like, I feel it's interesting because there are certain people that I'll be like, yo, you will be perfect for my friend so and so, right?
Mm,
It's just like, you just get out there and be yourself, and then it's so refreshing just to do that anyway. um but I just feel like, I don't even know who I'm talking to out here on these internets. I'm just saying, like, I wish it was different in the way that people didn't feel like they had to, pretend to be something to, get a date,
mm-hmm,
or to keep something going that's not even real. You know what I mean? Or to just even keep, okay, here's something that's really probably going to hit nerves, is that to be in a situation that is, is not for you, but you just don't want to
mm,
do the work of being alone, right?
mm,
It's just like, okay, I know that this isn't a good situation for me because my growth is stunted, or we're, misaligned in thinking or whatever, but I'm here
mm,
now, so I'll just ride it out. I don't know.
mm,
I'm just thinking about this because it's like, these are things that to be honest with you, these are things that I have done. These are things that
mm,
I've done in the past, where I'm just like, you know, why am I even here, or why am I even, doing this? But now that I see that I know better, I'm like, yeah, I need to tell the rest of the people, like, we should
Yeah.
have never been doing that.
So when you do it and you're in it, when you go through it and be like, you get to the point where you're like, okay, I don't have to do that. And when you start to embrace that and feel that, then that is when you can like experience so many other things. You know what I'm saying? Even just like enjoying the time with yourself alone. Like some people can't
Yeah.
be alone. And so it's like, you don't know that until you go through it and get over it and look back and be like, why the fuck was I even doing that? You know
Why
what
was
I
I
mean?
even doing that? You know what? I be having these moments, and I want to get into some of these comments because there's some real good comments over here.
Yes.
I be having these moments where I like just randomly, right? Like, I don't know, I'll be washing dishes, or I'll be vacuuming, or I'll be, looking something up online. I don't know, just random points in the day where I'll just have a specific memory of something I did, and I would be like, why did you do that? And I'll just like relive it for like 30 seconds and just beat myself up like, that was so dumb. Oh my God, that was so embarrassing. Why would you do that? And it's just like, that joint happened years ago. Like, what are you even talking about?
Well, okay, I'll say this. Do not beat yourself up over it because one, you're still here and you got through whatever it is that you did, but you learned a lesson. And
Facts.
the whole thing is, yes, you go through stuff and you're gonna have experiences, but if you never learn the lesson that you're supposed to learn in it, then you
Mm,
stuck right there. Like that's where you are.
true.
People who do decide to be like, oh well, I'm comfortable in this situation and it's better than nothing or whatever. Like that means that you're capping your limitations on the kind of lifestyle you want to live, the people who you want to be around, and things like that. Like you're just stagnant because
You're
you're just going through the same
you're
motions.
really just stunting your growth. You're just
Fact.
like,
But you
okay,
don't realize it until you actually get
yeah,
pulled up out of it. You know what I mean? And
so
that's the
true.
crazy part. All right, so you go ahead, get into some of these comments.
All right, so
Where you
Monique
want me to
says,
start at?
let's go back to Yaron up at I think it was at 809. Let people know the real you up front. Give them the chance to choose if they want to continue to know you. That is so real on both levels, because on both sides, because it's like you're giving the chance for someone to get to know you, and you're giving the chance to be yourself, so both people are able to make a choice there, right?
Mm-hmm.
That way it's all out there from the jump. Exactly, no time wasted, right? If you're just yourself, then nobody can say they wasted any time, because I was just gonna be here anyway, and you didn't like it, so goodbye, right? Whatever. Or I loved it and give me more, right? Okay, so
I mean, you would be
let's
surprised. Like I said, you don't know people. So how can you decide, oh, when I go out with him, I'm going to act like this? Well, how do you know
yeah.
that's what he wants you to act like? You'll be better off just acting like you because can't nobody do you like you. And he might like it. And then he might not. And that's good too. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
because just go ahead and end that. And then it's just like so much stress to keep up with what somebody, like, you just can't be living a well life just, playing a role. It doesn't serve anybody. Okay, so let's talk what Sheila says. It takes maturity to keep it real with yourself. So true. So true.
Fact.
Yes, I need to know if I even want to get to know you. And then there's no love lost. There's not anything that says like you have to be mean to the person if it's not a fit. It could just really just be like, you know what? It was, thanks for the conversation, but it's clear that this isn't going to work. So,
I mean, yeah. And I think, it's like, if the earlier that it happens that you're yourself and you present yourself, there's no love lost because we don't even know each other. And it's like, I've been on a bunch of first dates where I'm like, being myself and realizing in the moment that I ain't never going to see this dude again because and so I'm okay with being like, this is fine with that, because why would I go on another date with you if I already was irritated on the first one? Like, I
right,
don't, that's crazy to me. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So
That's a
anyway,
lot of wasted time. I think the Okay, and I think one of the things that make people go on that second or third or fifth date is that maybe we discount ourselves, like, well, maybe it's me, let me just get to know this person more, but you kind of know already, and you're just prolonging what's going to happen anyway. Like, it's not the worst thing to be single. Like, you gotta let some go by, man.
Listen,
Gotta
I'm
let
not
some
gonna
go
argue
by.
with myself. I'm not gonna like do nothing crazy to myself. And my whole thing is like, if I can't be by myself, then like what the hell? But if I go on a date and I already don't like you, not even like mean like that, but it's just like I see we don't jive. Like
Yeah.
I'm doing myself and you a disservice if I keep on going out with you because like what are we doing? You
What
know
are
what I
we
mean?
doing? Right. Yeah, for sure.
So
All right, what's this
uh-uh.
Monique? What Monique said something. I gave a guy online my number. After 2 weeks, I Googled his name. Oh, she about to get me into this whole Maryland case search. Okay. He was arrested for relations with a student at high school. I confronted him and he said, didn't know when to tell me. Before I Googled it, like, like, what in the
I
world?
mean,
Like,
2 weeks
you
is a long time though. He should have known that he was Googleable. And
let
I
me
mean,
tell
he
you
knew he
something.
did the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, what are you
Guys
doing?
and guys of guys and girls, friends of guys, let everyone know that there's a website called marylandcasesearch.com, and
For Maryland only though. But it's
but
probably in
there's
other
other
states too, yeah.
websites too, because I've actually look, I've done some stuff.
Okay.
I've done paid for the background search, $49.97 for the background search,
Oh,
just
I
so I
know who
can
you're
see.
talking about too.
Yeah, it was before.
Yeah,
I don't even know
that
what
was
I was
worth
thinking
it.
about. It was before a job interview, and I got the job too. But I was like, yo, I should have been focused on like going over interview questions and stuff. But I was online doing a background search for this motherfucker. Anyway, he was trash anyway. But
Listen.
like, if you look, here's the thing, and this is before Facebook. So
Mm.
now, you don't even need to have this, but like, what I would do this Maryland case search, or I would Google somebody, or I would, now there's social media. So flag number one, and I'm not saying anything bad about somebody who doesn't like social media, but if someone doesn't have any web presence, like, you can't Google them, you can't find them on a website, you can't find their name on a bio on the place where they said they worked, you can't find any trace of them online, I would be very leery of that person, because that's kind of impossible. Like, there's some trace on you, and if you can't find one, then it's erased. Unless their name is like Joe Smith or something, you know what I mean? But yes, Facebook is a real thing, because you probably have it's likely you have some mutual connections, or if you don't, you can kind of like see different things. You can know things if you look, if you look hard enough.
True. But then
But, and not to say that you should go and do a full background, investigation on somebody just to date them. But if you have tools at your, if you have resources available, you should use them. But this guy right here sounds crazy, right? Oh, I didn't know when to tell you that
yeah,
I
he was
had relations
lunching.
with a high school student.
That's
Now.
now, nigga.
Okay, Goody said, I'm a tarot reader and gifted intuitive. I'm a Christian, not church folk. Okay, heard. This disqualifies so many. Wait, what does that mean?
She's a tarot reader and she's a gifted intuitive. She's also referred to as a high priestess, and she's Christian and not church folk, meaning you know how they
Yep,
say people all in the church
townspeople.
or whatever.
Yep.
So her discernment is on another level, and so that disqualifies a lot of people.
Mm. And so my question is, are you disqualifying them, or are you saying that puts you in a place where people don't know how to take you? That
That's a
would be
good
my
question.
question, because I get what you're saying about the church folk thing. Me and James call them townspeople. It's just like the townspeople want to, and it's not even the people that that are our church. But we just talk about this because, like, the townspeople have so many opinions. They would they're tracking your life, right? Like, oh, when you gonna graduate high school? You graduate high school. When you gonna go get into college debt? Okay, now you're in college debt. When you gonna get out and get a job? Okay, you got a job. When you gonna buy a house? When you gonna get married? When you gonna get a girlfriend? girlfriend? Oh, when you gonna? Oh, you married? When you gonna have babies? Oh, you got babies?
Mhm.
When you gonna do this? When you gonna do that?
The
That's not the
townspeople.
life I chose. Like, you just got to get out of my business real quick. And the townspeople know everything about everybody else, but they don't know themselves. Okay, we're not gonna talk about. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That was too much. Okay, Goody Gabor says, I also say I ain't cooking
If
if
you ain't
you ain't
watching.
watching because you won't accuse me of putting things in your food. Also, why would I do that? I am the prize. This also gets me out of bad pairings. Okay. I used to hide tarot decks. Now a man who dates me must gift me the expensive ones I don't want to buy. I know
I
that's
know that's
right.
right.
I know that's right.
Hey,
Yes,
Goody,
indeed.
I need to holler at you probably in the next couple of days so we can set up something. She's about to start working with me because she about to be a life coach and everything. You know what I'm saying? She about to do this.
I know that's right.
Anyway,
Somebody said I live in Maryland.
you're
Somebody
on.
Google him. No,
So
sorry. I'm sorry.
you're on. If you ever want to look somebody up on Maryland case search, you can. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in advocating for doxing anybody, but for your own personal knowledge, if it's you can. I'm in Maryland too. Faith is not in Maryland, but she's in one of the these letters DMV. She's in one of the she's in the D or the V.
Yeah,
Oh
we'll
my
see.
gosh,
We're moving things
a
around,
high
but
school he worked at. Lord have mercy.
oh Lord, that's crazy.
That is
That just
crazy,
you
but it
can't even
does
be
happen.
we can't
It
even
does happen often too.
we can't even trust you with the chicken. Like, I feel like you can't even be
I should have
trusted
known.
to watch the chicken or something. You know what I mean? Like, you can't even be trusted to stir the sauce because we left this in your care and you and you ruined your chances. It's just weird. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. I
Mm-mm.
don't want to judge that person, but I did and I am.
Monique says she lives on the Oklahoma Department of Corrections website and court case searches.
I
What
know
the
that's
hell
right.
searches?
This is
Court case
information.
searches.
Court case searches. And
I
look,
said searches.
I might have a court case myself, but that's okay. It's okay if somebody
Listen,
has a court case. It's about what it is.
it's
You know what
about
I'm
what it is,
saying?
and if you're dating somebody, that is the first thing they need to know because that is the deciding factor on whether they're going to accept you or not. Just like me, that's I'm not even going to use an analogy because it's crazy enough in itself. But you know, you're in charge of sharing, deciding when you're going to share your personal business. But just know that maybe if it can be Google, which
Yeah.
Google's open 24/7, you might, and
Hello?
it's something that you feel like you're going to be judged on. I would just, like I said last week, I would just take the power away and do it myself and
Yeah.
just be ready to be like, okay, if you don't, if you're not down with that, I just wanted to be honest because you being honest, it kind of raises the possibility of how much I'm going to respect you because you came to me
Yeah.
and told me. I mean, I'm still going to move on, but I'm going to respect you, the fact that you told me. That's just like when I was in college. I remember me and Kiana used to go to these parties, and there was some other people we used to hang with or whatever. And, in college, like everybody's hormones are freaking on
Yeah.
10 or whatever, and so
Mm-hmm.
you know, some of the girls start being like walking up to the dude sometimes being like, hey, when you gonna let me hit? Like,
Ooh.
and so I'm like, what the hell are y'all doing? Like, but at the same time, if a dude walked up to me and said that, it kind of lets me know where you at and it gives me a decision to make. Like, personally, you're not for me, but I respect the fact that you came right out with what you wanted. Have a nice
Yeah.
day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
Not today,
versus
sir.
you acting like, oh, we're gonna go on these dates and I like
Yeah, that's
you.
true.
Don't do that because
That's true. Myron Golden says something about this. Well, not even about sex, but he's talking about money. He was like, he appreciates money, the intentions that people have behind money because they're true intentions. He's like, if somebody wants money from you and they state it outright, like, you know what the price is, right? Like, somebody brings you your bags up to your hotel room, like, they want a tip. Like, if somebody's trying to sell you something, they're going to tell you the price. So he was like, intentions of money sometimes can be cleaner than other intentions. But if somebody's trying to
they're
sell you
asking for it
something
outright.
or
Yeah.
get you to a situation where they want something from you and they're not revealing it, sometimes money can be the cleanest intention if it's done in a way where it's made clear what
I
what
mean,
what the want
even a
is.
person on the street asking for money is very forthright about it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
listen, I want money and this is the amount of money.
Change.
Right,
change.
exactly. I know
You
exactly
know
what
me.
you want, but sometimes in dating and in relationships, it can be very much weird because it's like even if somebody I don't know. It's just so many layers to this. There's no way we're gonna get to the bottom of that.
I
Okay,
mean,
what is the
especially now, it's like, like you have some people who are looking for relationships, you have some people who are not.
hmm
And it's like trying to once you meet somebody, it's like, okay, both of y'all have to figure out what y'all are doing at some point, because if not, one person is just being led on by whatever the other person is thinking if y'all have not, settled on what it is that y'all doing. But I don't know. See, I haven't been dating for years, so I don't know what the hell's going on out here.
what
I'm
the
jumping
hell
back
is going
out.
on out there?
I'm jumping back out here to see, but it's looking like it's pee in the pool. So
There's a lot of pee out there, and I can see it from here. Well, it's weird because look, that's so funny. I used to go to this pool party. Okay, this is
the
a literal
rooftop pool
thing.
party.
No, I used to go to this pool party. I should say the name of it was a
Yeah, was it
capital
on a
city.
rooftop? I thought
It
that pool.
wasn't on a rooftop. It was just
They used
it
to
was
have that party in the food truck things.
we used to go. I used to go to this pool party maybe like 10 or 15 years ago. It was probably more like 10 years ago. No, maybe like 10 or 12 years ago. Anyway, long story short, I used to go to this pool party and we used to get so lit and so sauced and we would get in the pool. But I remember one time getting in the pool and it felt like the pool was like the water was not, it felt like oil. And I was just like, I need to get out of this pool. What the hell is this? This isn't water.
A
It
bunch of
was like
drunk people
so
too.
slimy. I was like, I gotta
Ugh.
get out of here. A slimy pool. And that kind of reminds me of the dating pool these days. I'm glad to be out of it, but at the same time, I'm like, there's so many good people who are looking for other good people that it sucks that you gotta get out of the pool to see because everybody else in there is just sliming it up. Anyway, all right. So we're going to go ahead and move off of this topic because we could talk about this for several days and
Real
hours.
quick though, she answered your question about how do the men respond. She said
Oh,
some get
okay.
weirded out and others just make her skin crawl.
Yeah,
All right, goody, bet.
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, let's get off of this because I'm currently dating right now and I don't want to have like fearful thoughts in my head. I'm
Yeah,
trying
you
to be like,
shouldn't. Everything that you're attracting to yourself and listen, everything that's for you is going to come to you. There's nothing that can stop that. So, you know, it's just is what it is. And people are going to come to you that aren't the right person. And you're going to see that. And nothing bad is coming to you. Everything that God has for you is already there. You just got to reach out and grab it. That's my speaking over you, sis. Like
I
literally,
receive it.
yes,
Okay.
receive this. Everything that you desire, God put that in your heart. And all you got to do is just reach your hand out and grab
Matter
it.
of fact, let me go ahead
That's
and
all
post
that is.
your Is It Crazy or Is It God Instagram in the chat for people to go
Absolutely.
check. You and
Absolutely.
You and Hubby's podcast. Y'all got to check out my sister and my brother. He's my brother-in-law, but we have the same birthday and he's my brother. So I'm going to share their podcast here.
And I
All
do
right.
want to
Well,
talk
you
to
can go
you
ahead with the
real
other
briefly
topic, though.
about this Love and Marriage cast and what we're going to see here because it does premiere soon, which I want to say is the 14th. Wait,
Saturday.
what's
Yes.
today? Okay, yes. May
Saturday, yesterday.
14th, Love and Marriage DC. Now, just giving a little background on everybody knows what Love and Marriage is. I think the first joint was out of Huntsville. Not a lot, you know. I don't know that because I've only been to Huntsville like twice. But when I was there, there's not a lot happening in Huntsville. I actually went there, um, you know, and some job training, and I went to the Marshall Space Flight Center down in Huntsville, but
Mm.
uh there's not a lot happening down there. So I think, we're not even going to go into the Huntsville cast. But this cast now is going to be in DC. Very intrigued by this. We
Mm-hmm.
obviously know Monique Samuels and Chris, and we also know who DJ Quicksilver is. We know
Mm-hmm.
I think we know who another person is too. I'm trying to look at this cast.
JT does the parties. I've been to a couple of JT's parties. So He's real cool, and his wife is cool too. I actually
Jamie Tyler.
pulled up
Yeah.
the yeah,
So what are your
yeah.
thoughts on the cast and on the actual brand, on the actual like Love and Marriage sort of franchise now that they're
So
franchising it? What are your thoughts?
first though, there's another couple, the Lyons, Tasha Lyon, and I can't remember her
Oh,
husband's name, but I think she's a hairstyler in this area. Um,
okay.
or they might be realtors, and she might have been a hairstylist. I can't remember. I know that they're into real estate though, but also I wanted to say that Ashley, who is DJ Quicksilver's wife, she has been doing interviews and stuff like that. So I think she kind of likes doing stuff like that. Um, but Irana and Jamie, they're really popping on TikTok as well. But I mean,
Okay.
I started watching Huntsville. I think I watched the first 2 seasons, and somehow I got sidetracked. I really need to go and like rewatch because all of the other stuff that's come out up present day, I'm like, oh my god. But I can't wait to see this because it's in the area. It's people that like all of the circles are mixed. It's like, I've definitely been in certain places. A couple of them have been. I know who Quicksilver is. So I think it's gonna be interesting to see like how it is. It's gonna be a lot different to me than Huntsville because there's so much here and they are into a lot. Like I said, JT been doing parties for years. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna be interesting. And they've been together for like 20 something years. So
Now, see,
it's
that's
gonna
a
be
that's a
it's gonna be
couple.
interesting. Yeah. It's
All
gonna be
right,
real interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
let me say something to what you were saying as far as like the Huntsville situation. So this franchise started out in Huntsville, and I remember our mother was the person who first put me on like, "Hey, you need to watch this show called Love and Marriage." And I remember watching that first one, but it felt super like forced or something. Like that first season, it just felt like they were faking. Like you could tell I forget the name of the couple right now, but the
Melody,
Melanie, right? You could tell they were like
Melody and
faking, they were
Marcel.
fronting, right? And so
But
it just
so
felt super
present day
fake.
now, we've learned that they probably were about to break up before they started filming, and they stayed together for the show. That's just
Mm.
what I heard,
And
allegedly.
what
I don't.
sense does that make? And that just goes to my point
I
that
mean,
there's
if they were
probably
getting
not
paid
much
for it, I
happening in
guess that's their
Huntsville.
incentive. You know what I'm saying?
I guess. Well, I guess. Listen, and I'm not trying to judge nobody. Let me just
Hold on,
calm
you
down
keep
a
talking.
little
I'm just
bit.
about to close the door.
My thought is this: if these people, I caught the frontation. The I caught that's not even a word. I'm coining that. I caught the frontuitiveness. They were fronting. They were fronting, my friend.
Fronting.
Fronting. They were fronting, and I could tell. I mean, it was. Listen, I love it when I see Black people on TV that have something going for themselves. It catches my eye. I'm interested, right? So I watched maybe that entire season, and I loved what they were doing with the real estate thing. I loved getting to know some of the characters, but I did feel a little bit like they
And get
were
in here.
performing a bit, and it started to kind of leak out that like I guess his name is Martel. I can't remember everybody's name.
Yeah,
Um
Martell.
was kind of like had some infidelity issues. Then leading into season 2, we started to just like we talked about with the dating. You just can't keep up the front. Okay? For a long time the front is going to leak, my friend. So that started to happen, and then I just fell off of that show. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I just became uninterested, and I was just like, I'm not going to watch
Yeah,
this
something
now.
happened. I lost the
Now in
interest to keep
recent
watching.
yeah, and so but see, this is what I'm saying. This is why I think either they got real or they started to realize that like, oh, nobody's gonna watch this unless there's scandal or whatever, right? So I don't know which one happened because I haven't been watching it, so I can't really say, but it has come to my door because on social media, and in other ways, like I see that, like even on my news feed, not even my social media feed, sometimes I'll be looking things up and I'll see something from the
Mhm.
cast that has happened, and it's like, oh, they're still around, like they're still making reality television, so good on them. But it's not even something that I thought that has inspired me to go back and rewatch the show. So for me, I liked it for what it was, but I still have not been so enamored to go and watch the show. Now, what's interesting is that I did watch some of the interviews, actually just one of the interviews, because and it was really because of Tasha K. Because I appreciate Tasha K. So I watched that and I knew about this thing. So I was just like, oh, Tasha K's interview. Oh, it's this lady. Right. And I watched that and, I have thoughts on that. We're not even getting into that. But this is going to be different because I do actually respect this cast and I want to see what they bring to it. Monique Samuels has a past with reality TV that I'm not sure how she's going to come off on this show. I would hope that it's going to be something that is better than what I've witnessed on the other show that she was on. But I don't really know. I feel like she felt like she wasn't, I don't know her, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like she wasn't able to really be herself on the other show, or maybe the production or whatever, just had her coming off a certain way. She wasn't my favorite housewife either, but I didn't dislike
All I
her.
remember
I
is that
respected her.
binder. I just remember that binder, and I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
Lord."
Yeah, well, there were some other things that were not, but at the same time, I did feel like, well, on paper, she's like a wonderful human. And so how is it that she's coming off in an unsavory way, right? So I want to see this because I'm curious about it. I think she's a mom, she's a wife.
Is
I
that blinking for
respect
you
her.
guys? Is
It
that
is
blinking?
blinking. Yeah. Who are those people?
Womp womp. I can't share screen, so sorry guys. I was showing you.
It's all
That
good.
is a very very airbrush picture of the ladies of the show: Monique, Arena, Ashley, and Tasha. I don't know why
Well,
it's
I
doing
can't
that.
wait to watch it.
I
I
was
I
just pulling
have
it.
every no, I have every ounce of
There's a
just
isn't it?
anticipation for this. I hope that this goes off well, and I think that with this cast, we're gonna get some good TV, and we're gonna really be proud that these people are in our streets. That's my take on it.
I can't wait to see the
Yeah,
interaction
Ellen, I feel you.
between the couples. I mean, because like I said, JT is funny, and him and his wife been together for a long time. They're going viral on TikTok and stuff like that. Um, I don't really know much about Monique except for her being on that show. But and then I don't know the other couple, the Lions. Know them, so I don't know. I'm
I
interested
think
though. I'm interested.
I'm hoping it's gonna be a good show. I'm
Wait a
laughing
minute.
at Ellen. She said, "I hope it's better too." I don't really care for Monique. I get it. I get where you're coming from. I'm thinking that perhaps it was the situations that she was in, but I can
I feel
understand why
like
you feel that way because there's some other things that I didn't care for that she is a part of. But I support her entrepreneurship, and I want to see Black people do well. But I feel you on that. Um, yeah, more to come. She said, Monique said, y'all are hurting my heart. I love Monique. I pretend to at least. Right. I feel you. It's just like I really want to like her a lot more than I actually can say that I do. And I'm just giving myself the space to do that. But I kind of agree. That's the best way I could put it. I kind of agree. I want to give us because, like, on paper, like, she should be best friend material, but something she did just ruffled a feather or something. Like, I can't put my finger on it, but I want to like her because I feel she should be likable. I feel everything that she's presenting should be best friendable. You know what I mean? So
see,
I
and
want
I
to give
didn't.
her that second chance to be like, yeah, this is who I thought you were. That's
I
me.
mean, the fact
Listen,
that she
after
got
all
her
that
own
stuff I
show,
just said
though,
about dating, that's what I am with this.
the
It's
fact that she
crazy.
got her own show says something because I watched the Real Housewives of Potomac kind of on and off. Like I saw the Binder episode, I saw a couple of other things, but I wasn't really, that wasn't really hitting. I don't know. My favorite Housewives is Real Housewives of Atlanta, but I don't really know her, so I'm gonna be watching this show with like new eyes for her because I don't really have any type of way that I feel like she is. I like her locks. I like her look. I mean, I don't know. I'm just gonna be watching it with like, like what's the show about? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have to
So
say, I like Real Housewives of Atlanta too. They're definitely, I don't have a favorite franchise, but I have favorite housewives.
mm-hmm.
Um, Caroline Manzo is probably my favorite housewife from Real Housewives of New Jersey.
I had to Google this right
Again
quick.
with the authenticity, I feel like you just can't get more authentic than Caroline Manzo. But I also really dig the Real
Oh,
Housewives of I mean Candy too. Candy and
mm-hmm.
Caroline Manzo are probably on the same.
You know they're coming out with the Real Housewives of Dubai.
I heard that. I heard that. But are they real though? I don't know. We got to see. I got to see because Dubai is like a real like
It'll be
manufactured
interesting.
city. I don't
It'll
know.
be
I got to go do my research on this. But I feel like I really have come to love the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because as much as they're so well put together, they're so falling apart at the seams, but they just look so great doing it and they just continue to show back up. And I've said this since I can't remember, maybe like 5 seasons back. If anything ever happens to me and I go missing, I want you to call the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because they're going to get to the bottom of it because they don't let shit go. They examine all the evidence, my nigga. Like they examine all of the evidence twice and 3 times, thrice. And
oh
if
my
anything
god.
ever happens to me, I need you to get Lisa Rinna on the phone with Kyle Richards, and I need them to do some stuff to just figure out what my last few locations were,
Wait,
and then you'll find me. So I have much respect for them, but my
wait. She
favorite.
said she was born on Real Housewives. But I missed this comment. I enjoyed her bopping Candace upside the head, but that made her look bad. Candace got hit in the head.
What? You didn't see that? Okay,
I didn't
sorry
see that.
everybody. I got high pitched on
I
you.
just
I'm
want to
sorry.
take a break before
The
you read this
shock.
comment. So I
The
had this.
shock. You didn't
I
see
had
her
this.
hit Candace?
No, I just want to do a
Where were
little.
you?
Let me do a little story real quick. It's gonna take
Okay.
2 minutes. So I just had this. I don't even remember when I went to Panda Express. It probably was like 3 weeks ago, but there was a fortune cookie inside of here because I never opened it. So it's moments where I have to rely on my intuition because I'll hear something weird
Mm-hmm.
and you hear that thumping in the background because somebody's jumping up and down right now trying to get this plastic. So while
Yeah.
you were talking, I heard,
Yep.
and I'm like, what the hell is that? Yesterday was washi tape, okay? But I
Oh
walked
my
back
gosh,
there.
she got into the washi tape.
He done got the pack open, okay, and the cookie's gone. So I don't know where the
He
little
ate
paper
the
was
cookie?
inside the cookie or whatever, but it's like a little baby. But anyway,
Wild.
um, this
Yeah, so
comment,
we get ready to see. Okay, I enjoyed the bopping. I can't lie. I liked her last season, kinda, or maybe felt more related to her. That's well. So here's the thing. It's not sad, Ellen. I feel like that was us having a moment with her where we actually understood where she was coming from, and I want to give it to the idea that maybe she just felt like okay, because remember when she first came on Real Housewives of Potomac, Giselle was in this mode of like challenging everyone to see if they were worthy to be in her presence or something like this. And then in most recent seasons, her shit started to unravel and she started to become more human like. And we started to see that her life wasn't all the way as together as she said it was. So, so then she back off of that. But I feel like the way Monique, now that I'm thinking of it, the way that she came onto the show, I was digging her. Like she had saying that she was a rapper, that she was married to Chris, that she was trying to
I
be a
do
good
remember
wife.
that.
And I liked
Yeah,
her
full
at that
houses.
point. And then I feel like she wanted to try to prove herself to show that she belonged. And she was like, oh, we have several houses and this and that. But I don't think she was saying it like that. I think she was just like, oh, how many, do you have houses? Like, yeah, we have several. I think it was one of those things. But then I feel like that's when she started to not be herself because then she wanted to fit in. But
Okay.
I think there's this is what I'm saying on paper because I feel like she is I mean, she's obviously, we can see her being a good mother. We can see her being a devoted wife. We can see her sort of like showing up, doing the work, trying. And I think what we're missing is the authenticity. And I think unfortunately it was capped because she felt the need to fit in some sort of way, and we didn't get to see the full picture. And then fast forward to that bop, that boppity bop. Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker, boppity bop. Okay, I
I did
had to
not
do that.
see
That was
that.
from
That is
Barney.
crazy.
I like it the way that you boppity
I didn't
bop.
know they
I had to
did that.
finish it. Guys, I'm sorry. It was impulsive. I had to finish the song because this is
Oh my
Barney.
god.
Okay. So anyway,
I did not
I
know
like
that
it
they
the way that
went
she
down like
boppity
that
bop.
with it.
And I don't even like, you know, I have any desire to see people do things like that, but I
Mhm.
felt like I could relate to the moment. Like I think that in her mind, she was probably like, you know what? I could just see my hand going upside your head, and then you will see, right? And to be honest with you, she had warned her before that I should just like
I now
several
go
maybe
watch
months
this.
several months before that, she had said something to the effect of like, I should just I should just I should just put my hands on you so that you could see that I could do that to you, and that's a thing. I don't remember how she said it. She didn't say it that way, but she was just like, I should snatch you or something like that. And so when you say that to somebody, right, I should snatch you, and they're like, why don't you do it then? Why don't you do it then? And they want to
Now you
see it
gotta do
too.
it.
And they want to see it too. So then when you get in that situation later and you know that like they've gotten a warning, check. You know, they've gotten out of that situation, check. We've talked about it later, check. So they know that it's possible. They know that if it's the space and the opportunity comes again, it's a possibility. So we're fair here.
That's
Okay.
crazy.
So then when she got the opportunity to do it, she did it. And I know that it wasn't her best shining moment, but I could understand how it happened. And that was the relatability to me because I was just like, you know what? That wasn't great. And I would be embarrassed just as she, said she was embarrassed, but I don't think she really was. Um,
I
but I
mean,
could
if it
see how
happened
that
on
could
TV,
happen.
I
So
would
then,
have.
go ahead.
No, if it happened on TV, I would have like, no, we have to fight. Like, if you hit me while cameras are rolling, I mean, if you hit me anyway, I think I'll probably fight you. But
Well, so
I
she
don't
was
know.
the aggressor in that situation. Well, she was not the verbal aggressor. She was the physical aggressor. But you know my thing about I believe that words are weapons too. And I'm not condoning anyone's violence, but actually I don't need to because violence is out there. And if you put yourself in the way of violence by way of wording, by way of action, that just know that it's out there. It's just like you look both ways before you cross the street. You need to look both ways before you say some shit out your mouth sometimes, because there could be a slap following, right? Like people have to understand that. Like I learned that. I know
I
that.
mean,
That's a
at
fact
a
for
certain
me.
age, you should know that yes, it's not right. You know what I mean? But you should know the behavior that gets you to the point where somebody's trying to put their hands on you. Sometimes people are just out of pocket, but you know what I mean? Like it's been moments where I felt like I could touch somebody at work, but I had to be like, you know what, I'm at work and I kind of like this job, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it. I mean, as
I
you get
like to
older, you
think,
have more to lose. You know, would you
yeah,
calm
for
down?
sure. And I like to think that I wouldn't put my hands on anyone. You know what I mean? But as I see these
Hey,
sorts of
Kamisha.
situations, I do understand that it's possible for people to lose themselves for a moment, right? Because there's this thing that clicks sometimes where you have to say like, this is what that would look like, and it feels so good, right? It feels so good to think about that. That's a dangerous space when you start visualizing your hand and the sound of your hand meeting someone's someone's face, and thinking that it's satisfying. That's the time where you need to back. So you don't need to hurt anybody, but I could see how it could happen. Like, we talked about the whole Mike Tyson thing. Like I could see how he lost it and that happened. I'm not saying that I condone Mike Tyson hitting someone, but I don't need to condone Mike Tyson hitting someone. None
Listen,
of
I
us
don't
do, because that
condone
was his
anybody
career.
taunting Mike Tyson. Like, I don't know what dude was thinking about. I don't
So
know.
so listen, and I'm not saying, Okay, yeah, I am saying that the person who had that happen to them probably deserved it, because it's just like those people who like go around barking at dogs or jumping in lions cages. Like, you could get hurt. And here's an example, right? So just don't do that anymore, right? Like, you live to
Oh my
tell about it.
God.
Just don't do that anymore. You know what I mean? And I just feel like people have to learn that lesson, and it's better to see it happen to somebody else and learn it than for you to happen it to happen to you. That's all I'm saying about that. So anyway,
Fact.
okay, let's read some of these comments, and then I'll let it go. But I am looking forward to this love and marriage, and I'm glad we kind of got to the bottom of this thing with Monique, because I'm hoping to see her in another light. I feel like production can be real thick sometimes, and then once somebody develops a narrative, they just go with it. So I'm willing to see. I want to see what how we see her in this on this platform. Okay, so let's see what was
Misha's
said
in the
here.
chat. She just got to work.
Kamisha, thank you so much for the thumbnail. That Joel's fire.
Yes,
I
we love
love it.
her.
I'm like,
Also, she
whoa.
has some interviews coming up with I think she's interviewing JT and Irana, and she's also interviewing Ashley this week. And she's also interviewing Donovan and Carmen as well. She booked them busy. She got interviews coming up all like the next several days. So I'll send you some.
Yes. So Ellen said Candace went on a crybaby tour with her tissue. Oh man, there's so much I could say
And
about that.
sticky notes.
Tissue and sticky notes. You have to read the room. Yes, indeed. Also have to make a choice. Is the job more important than your feelings? I would like to know more about that. Slap. That was a give me 50 feet. This is hilarious. I can't fight, so it's never crossed my mind. You'd be surprised, Monique. You'd be
I
surprised what
can't
could
believe
happen.
Monique can't fight. That sounds crazy to
Yeah,
me.
see, that sounds like somebody who could really fight, but just don't want you to know, or just don't want you to have to see that they can fight. So when we find out she could fight, it's gonna be too late for someone.
See, I'm with Misha. I had to back off of that as I'm getting older, because I don't need to be out there
Absolutely.
fighting nobody or whatever. But the only things that'll bring me out to fight is if somebody mess with my sister. I'm definitely gonna try to beat that ass. Somebody mess with my son or my mother or something like that. But other than that,
Yeah.
I'm probably just gonna be like, unless you put your hands on me. If you put your hands on me, then it's different. But I don't be looking for the fight no more. You know what I mean?
Nah, I don't be looking for the fight either. But it's there. I guess I'm not trying to say that I'm okay. I guess, how do I say this? It's like, I'm nonviolent. I'm super
I've never
nonviolent.
hit anyone before, but I'm pretty sure I can.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. I'm
Oh,
I'm nonviolent in the way of like, I don't want to see anybody get hurt. You know what I mean? But if somebody puts themselves in a position that I have to show them that they can't act that way to me. And it's not even like, okay, so now I'm just getting myself into a mess because I'm nonviolent. Let's just say that. I'm
I would
nonviolent.
say, okay, I don't condone violence. I don't think that's your first go-to, but um, I'm not saying that I won't fight because I never know what's going to happen. I'm not going out looking
And
for
see,
it.
that's the thing. That's why I can't really fully say with a full force that I'm
You
nonviolent,
know how I
because
used to
by
be
the
though.
time
My
I'm
feelings
violent,
really
it was
calm down.
necessary, and it had to happen then. So it's just like, I'm not violent until I'm not. Like, I don't be
So,
all here in these streets hitting people. But
so
if something were to
yeah, no,
happen,
I'm just that person that you just might want to try somebody else because
right,
I am open to it, is what I'm saying. Like, so you can't just come
right,
up to me
like
and be
it could
like,
happen.
whatever. But
It could happen.
I'll tell you when I realized that I had grown, it was when I guess my son was 2 years old. I had a job, and usually, so if I didn't have him, I could just go get another job ASAP. But I had just entered into the whole world of security clearances and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, this is a great gig or whatever. But I used to have, remember those parties, those weekend parties I used to have. Well, we used to have at the time.
Yes, I do remember.
Remember the one girl that came over that I used to work with, and
Yeah, I remember exactly
anyway,
who you're
long
talking
story
about.
short, we got into it at work because she didn't get her way at a party or something she was mad about that happened at the party. And I'm like, lady, we in here with all these professional folk. You know what I'm saying?
What?
We in our 20s, and here you are coming to my desk, talk all mad about something that happened outside of work. First of all, I don't even need them to know what we were doing outside of work. You know what I'm
Hello?
saying?
This is not
But
their
we got
business.
into it. We got into it to the point where it was like, are we about to get on the elevator and go downstairs or what? And then it was like, I don't know, it just escalated. So I said, you know what? I could see myself slapping and stomping this chick in this good government office.
You visualized it.
I said, okay, you know what I'm saying? I was so proud of myself because my temper was crazy back then. So I just remember
I was proud of you too. I'm not gonna lie, because I know how much restraint. I know how much restraint it took.
The restraint. I said, okay, you know what? She's loud. We all right here. I'm like, okay, I gotta diffuse the situation. So I said, okay, if I walk back into the offices where everybody like at, then maybe she'll just like chill out. We go back and she is behind me, like hitting my elbow, like, what you gonna do to me? What you gonna do? And I'm in my mind like, did this bitch just push my elbow? And so I get back. I was so pissed. By the time I got back to my boss's office, I was like, I cannot work like this. And I pointed my finger in her face. And they were like, like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, it was so many things happening at that time that it was just like the most embarrassing thing. So then when they were like, oh, okay, you go over here and you go over here. And then they were like talking to a separate, and they was like, okay, if this was your company, what would you do? And they was like, okay, well, y'all go write a statement.
That is so embarrassing.
I don't know how to write, and she don't know how to write, so I'm going to win this. But yeah, I'll never forget that, because I was like, I really could have fought her right there. But I was like, okay, I got to think of a bigger picture. I got a kid to take care of. I didn't start this. This is some crazy stuff that she's on or whatever. And so, yeah, that was that. And I never saw her again.
So embarrassing. That is so embarrassing. Like, it's like, but I mean, okay, but let's just play that out in a different way. If you had hit her, knowing what I knew about her, I wouldn't have faulted you, right? And I had a friend like that who I never hit either. But you knew who she was, and if I would have told you like I hit her, you'd have been like, I know.
About time.
I get it. I get it. I know why you did it.
We're not bad people, guys. We're not
bad people, but it's just like sometimes people think, and I think it's because we're good people and we let people cross boundaries, and then it goes so far that it's just like, well, that's really disrespectful. And like, if you're not going to listen to my words, then I'll have to show you that this is unacceptable. Right. And it doesn't even happen often or anything like that. Like, it's been several years, but I don't know what to tell people. Like, listen, we're human beings. I've not fought anybody, but I could see how people get hurt sometimes. Like when I'm looking at TV or I'm seeing these things, like the thing that happened with Mike Tyson, like I can't say that I would have done what Mike Tyson would have done, but I could see how he went there. I could see how those events occurred. Right.
You have to be a crazy person to taunt a person with.
Why would you even do that? Why would you even do that? What was that? When? At what point was that a good idea? At what point was that a good idea?
Family. And I mean, well, I ain't gonna say that because, like I said, I got shit to lose now, so I wouldn't jump off like that. I would just, is it
absolutely
worth it?
Not. Absolutely not. I would never like lead with that. I'm just saying that I'm not completely nonviolent, and I get how people get hit. Right. Girl, that's all my point is.
Yeah.
So I'm not completely an advocate of like people shouldn't hit one another. I don't think that's the truth. I think sometimes people get hit because they brought it on themselves. That's what I believe.
Ellen, it was involving a dude, and she had to leave the party. She had to be told to leave the party. We actually like told her she had to roll because there was some other issues involved with her or whatever. And then when we saw each other at work the next day, she was just in all of her hood glory. And I was just like, not happening right here. But it ended up that she had some type of other issues too. So it was good that I didn't do anything, but I really could have, because I was like, did she just touch me? Is she really doing this?
Yeah, I've had those moments too. And luckily I got out of there and I didn't have to have, charges brought against me either. So we survived those moments. You know what I mean? And that's that. So we'll let that go.
But I got you, Kamisha. I feel you.
Okay,
She said
so
she's
anyway,
not looking for violence.
yeah, nobody's looking for that. Absolutely.
Absolutely not. We lead with kindness over here, but there are
Absolutely,
people
and fun.
who just have like, but like I said, as I got older, I know how to, I've learned how to deal with certain situations, and I don't even go around stuff like that now. Um, but I'm just saying, for anybody out there that sees me out and they think it's about to be sweet or something like that, I'm just saying I'm not beneath doing it. I just don't do it.
Yeah, I don't want to do it. It's not something even that's a
I'm just
go-to,
saying, don't
right?
try me, try Jesus. Try somebody else. Just look at me and keep it moving, okay?
Yeah, let's
All I'm saying.
not even go there. That's the point, right?
All
Because
right, Kamisha.
if she ain't looking, I'm somewhere off in the distance looking, and vice
Yeah,
versa.
Ellen, I was walking, she was on my heels, and we had just finished arguing, and I was trying to diffuse the argument because everybody was coming out of their office sticking their heads out. It's only three black people that worked there at the time, and I'm just totally embarrassed. And I'm like, okay, look, you need to calm down. You talking about stuff that we did outside of work, like that don't have no place in here. We'll holler later. And she was just going on, and then all these others, and so I just walked off, like, let me just take her back here with some authority here so she can shut the fuck up. And while I was doing that, I was walking, she's on my heels, and she was just like, I mean, it wasn't, to be honest, it wasn't threatening, but it was just the fact that you are talking
In
shit and
violation. She was in
touching me in any
violation.
way. And she was just like, what you gonna do to me to pushing my
See,
arm? Like, what you gonna do from
violation.
behind? Like, it was just kind of like, what you gonna do to me? What you gonna do? And I was like, that's me touching me, like, for real. But I was just like, okay, this can't go down like this. And then like I halfway was thinking, I don't know. I mean, I never heard from her after that. We knew where each other lived, and it was like that was just the end of it. But she had some other
Issues.
things going on that I found
You
out about.
exercise
So
restraint, and that was a very proud moment. But I also could have understood if you would have said later, like, "Well, I lost my job today, and here's why."
yeah,
Right?
but then
Like
I
I
was
could have
thinking
seen,
to
I
myself,
could have also understood that. But you show restraint, and that was great. That was
because
great.
I mean, obviously as an adult,
That's
I'm
the
proud of
goal.
the decision I made. But back then, I was just like, I cannot believe. And then for a while, I was just like hoping to see her, but then I was like, let that shit go. You need to stop.
Right. See, this is the
That
other
was 20
side of
years ago, though.
nonviolence. Let me just okay. Let me
But
just
I've come a long way, y'all. Y'all just do
listen.
not know. I've come a long way. I'm very nice now. I've been nice, but
Can I
you know,
just can I just advocate for violence for 30 seconds?
oh my god,
For
America's
30
violence.
seconds, because the
Okay.
other side of the nonviolent thing is when someone does take steps to disrespect you and you didn't do anything about it, right? Regardless of what could have been done,
Thanks,
right?
Kamisha.
Whether you're speaking up for yourself or whether you did whatever you needed to do in the moment, if you did not react to the disrespect and then you walk away feeling like something was taken from you, that's also something that is considered to be could be a level of traumatic, because you're going to keep thinking about it. You're going to keep thinking about,
Mhm.
I should have
Replaying
stood up
it.
for myself in that moment. I should have done something about it. I should have let that person know that they couldn't do this. And unfortunately, sometimes people do things that the only way that you could keep them from doing it is to physically put their hand somewhere else or to stop them physically. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying those things happen often. I'm just saying that, like, sometimes it just gets the best of you and you have to show people, right? Like that's the thing that sucks. It's just like, let me just show you, right? Like I'm done with the words, like, let me just show you. That's really where it comes from. But it's like, I really am proud of myself for not even surrounding myself with people. I've managed to avoid such horrible energy for
Mm-hmm.
several years now, and I'm so glad and grateful for that in my life. I feel like I have all positive people around me.
Hey,
And
that's a fucking feat. Because when you look at the people that we were like dealing with 20 years
yeah.
ago. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? That's one of the things I look back now and be like, how was I even dealing with these
How was I
people?
even dealing with that?
I will never forget the level of rage. Like,
Mm.
first of all, y'all, I'm an Aries, so rage comes easily for me. And I got a Leo moon, so I got that fire in me, but the level of rage I used to get when I got mad, it took a lot to get me there, but once I was there, it was really hard to calm me down on certain things. And I will never forget that one time I
I know
had
what
a
you're about to talk
roommate,
about. I
and
knew you was about to
this
say that.
this fucking roommate,
Yo, that was
y'all, when I tell
hilarious.
y'all,
Okay, it
I
wasn't
was
hilarious,
nice
but it
to
was
this
hilarious low key.
broad.
It
I
was
used to
low key
take care of
hilarious.
her kid. I used to go get
The
her
level
kid
of
out of
disrespect.
situations that she used to put this kid in. I used to take care of this kid, bathe this kid, feed this kid, treat this kid like it was my own. I even referred her to a daycare.
And this was a nonviolent moment, to be honest with you. You didn't even use violence.
I really didn't use violence, but I so fucking could have. But anyway, long story short, she was living with me, but she was on some shady shit. I found out she was on some shady shit, and I asked her to move 45 days before she actually had to move. She decided the first time that, oh, my check didn't come. Now, mind you, we also work for the same company. We didn't do the same things, but we work for the same company, so I know your pay date. So the first time, she's claimed that the lady, she didn't get paid on time, and the lady couldn't take the deposit, so that bought her a little bit more time. So I gave her some more time, and I said, this time, on the day that she's supposed to move out, I'm taking off work because you're leaving
You're
here.
gonna move out.
And
You're
so this
going. This is going to
particular
happen
day,
today.
she got up, she left, and she was gone all day. And then I finally was like, you come back to get your stuff. She came back, but when she came back, I don't even understand how we got to the point that we got.
I know what it was. You want me to remind
Oh,
you? Your child and her child had the same daycare situation, and you would always take care of her child, still love her child, right? And so when one of you would get there first, you would both get each other's children. She went and got her child and left your child there, and I can only imagine your child at the moment just like walking up thinking like, oh yeah, it's time to go, and then being rejected like, oh no, you're not gonna come with me, but I'm gonna go back to the house that your mom pays for me to live in without you, and then you're gonna be stuck here because I'm petty Betty.
The messed up thing about it was, no matter how I felt about her, I would never have treated her child any other way. Her child
absolutely
was
not.
like
To this day.
I referred her to this daycare, and then she's gonna go there. And even the people was like, "Oh, I thought she was gonna," because they always come and leave together. And nine times out of 10, I would drop them off and pick them up. So her even going to get her child was weird. So she comes in the house, and it was almost time for the daycare to close. And I was like, "Did you get the kids yet? You want me to bring your daughter back because she's there acting like she's packing her stuff." So I'm like, she was like, "Oh, I already got her. She outside playing." Immediately went from 0 to 100. I was like, what? If I was a cartoon, that showed all the muscles would have popped out. Like, what? And so I happened to have a dude there with me because she was getting her shit out.
He was cool too. I knew him too. He was hilarious.
I was like, hey, I said, okay, bet. I was like, all right, let me go get my kid. And it was right down the street. So luckily I wasn't late enough. So on the way back, I did not even let the car stop. I had the door open. I was already out getting out. I was like, hey, Earl, go in the courtyard and play. I go to the door. I don't even remember how I went down. I just know I went in. He did not go in because I went in and she was coming in. The door locks when you go in. And so I was going in there, and somehow it ended up with me and her inside the building, everybody else outside. And somehow she was like holding on to my arm because I think I was trying to go open the door. But then I was like, what are you doing? I was like, you need to get your stuff. I think because I was just so pissed. I was like, oh, you damn sure need to get out of here now because it's no way you're going to look my child in the face. I don't care if you look them in the face or not. You go into the daycare to pick up your kid and you think you about to come back here. Bitch, I hope you're getting
to my house. How you gonna come back to my house though? So, you should have gone somewhere else.
She's trying to be like, come on. She actually was treating me like a dude, like she was a nigga and I was a girl. She was like, come on, let's just go talk. I was like, you don't let me go. So I'm on the step pulling my arm from her. I was like, okay. I finally got up to the steps to push the door open for the dude, and I went in there and I walked. No, actually, he wasn't even in there at first. We got into the apartment because I pushed the door open so hard. Some picture fell off the wall. The glass fell down. And we in that zone, not fighting, but it was still like this tussle. Like she was trying to calm me down like she was a dude. And I was just like, this shit is weird, but you better get the fuck off me because I done kicked my flip-flops off and everything. And so then I was able to go and open the door. And I was just going off. And then she had like one of her little girlfriends with her to help her move. And she was just sitting there looking stupid. But I was like, bitch, whatever you don't take is trust and believe you're not going to be able to come back and get it. It's mine. It's trash, whatever, you done. And so after that, I just remember her texting you asking for her taser back. And I texted her friend and was like, no, it's mine. Everything's mine. If she's big and bad, then she can come get it. But I ain't never seen her again either. But that was the last
No,
time
and that's a
I was
perfect
really
example of
fired the
someone
fuck up.
knowing that
I
they
could have
did
fucking killed her ass.
that. Listen, you was never gonna kill her, but that was a perfect example of someone knowing that they
Never
did
know
something
what
wrong.
you do, and then
I
you was
have
a
to
woman and
imagine that
raised
on her
her.
way back, she had regretted, like, how's this gonna go over? Right? Like, she had to know because she was trying to calm you down. And I realized, it never even got violent. Like, you never even hit her, even though I feel like you were waiting for the opportunity.
I
But it
didn't
was
because I don't even know why. I just kind of was telling her
because it
because she
wasn't
had
even
to
worth
roll
it. Now, if
out.
she would have come
I
out of
was
her,
pissed though, but I remember Donald
absolutely,
was like, he was like, calm down. Just
yeah.
she about to get her shit or whatever. But it was clear that, like, if he wasn't like involved in that, man, I don't know how I would have ended up with that because that junk was crazy. But that actually taught me a really good lesson. Like, that's why I will never have another roommate again. Ever. Oh, I'm 45 now. Why would I
Well,
have a
so
roommate?
here's the difference now, though. Here's the difference now. We don't even surround ourselves with people who are available or who are reach those levels of disrespect. That's one thing that I
Yeah, I
think
cut
we've
you off
learned
quick
over
on
the
that.
years. It's like before it was a free for all. It's like, hey, you want to be around me? I love people. Come be around me. And then they would give you little clues and little signs of who they were. You would see them do other people dirty. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, oh, well, you've never done anything to me. So that's fine. But then after a while, a dirty person's going to do dirty things. You know what I mean? And then they're going to
Mm-hmm.
do dirty things to you. And because you've seen them do it and you just can't believe they're doing it to you, it feels so disrespectful, especially in that situation because you had helped her out so much. Even knowing who
I
she
was
was
pissed.
and knowing how rejected she
Had
was,
a little
you
bit of
gave
that
her
shit creeping
love
up back
and
there
then
just
you
now.
gave
Like,
her
ugh.
opportunity. You gave her opportunity and you introduced her to people and you were, very
She got
loving to
over it.
her.
She definitely got over it.
Well,
I know.
that's who she was. But see, look at it, right? Because I've been through this too with other people. They showed us who they were, right? We were like, it's fine. You haven't done anything to me, right? I'll let you stay
Mm-hmm.
around. And then they reveal that they're capable of dirt on a level
Mm-hmm.
beyond, reconnaissance. Like, you can't do that to me. And that's the lesson. See, that's where violence gets really ugly and you didn't even do anything violent to her, but I think that's the difference between sort of like 25-year-old Faith and 40-year-old
Mm-hmm.
Faith is
Mm-hmm.
that now my discernment is like on, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, you aren't even allowed in my circle and I don't even like judge you. It's just like, you can't come over here. You know what I'm saying? You see the
Mm-hmm.
VIP rope? It's not happening,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah.
Go
I'm
get your
not
drink
even
from the
on that.
bar.
I like
And
that
it's,
good energy. I like people
yes,
who are like, and I mean, it doesn't even mean that we need to agree all the time. Like, I like different opinions, but as long as we have
absolutely.
respect for each other, we cool. But that shit don't last long at all. I remember when I played kickball a couple of years ago. And like, we used to line up for the food and stuff after we played and everything. And it was this irritating girl that was on one of the teams that I played on. And I remember she was like, just walking up, like we were all standing at the table waiting for somebody to like uncover some shit, and she
Mm-hmm.
walked up and like had her plate and got in front, and I guess that was in the moment of my life where I was just like, I'm really not feeling none of this shit or whatever, like disrespect or whatever, and I was just like, what exactly are you doing? So, people, I'm the type of person that like I'm quiet until I'm not, I'm calm until I'm not, and then people are like, oh shit, what's going on over there? She,
But
but
still
I feel like
respectful.
I've
And
come far.
mostly those people aren't even around. So it's just like,
Yeah. Anyway,
anyway.
I don't even know how we got here.
We all went on a whole story time, girl. All
Yes.
right. Look, we're next week we're gonna be back with more topics. We're gonna have Watch Love and Marriage DC, and
Yes.
we'll have our first thoughts off of that, and it's gonna be much more
Yes.
kind over
And I
here.
have another idea to run past you, and Kamisha kind of touched on it. She said she hopes that we review her interviews. She looks forward to our thoughts. That was kind
Ooh.
of something that I thought about doing, like random, because we watch a lot of interviews anyway, not just like TV review stuff. And I
Yeah.
feel like we could do something along the lines of reactions to interviews, because a lot of the interviews that we watch, yeah, we watch them from beginning to end. But a lot of people are not going to watch it from beginning to end. So I feel like if we could do something and do like a couple of two takeaways that I got, what are the takeaways that you got? And
Yeah.
then maybe that'll entice people to watch those interviews, or, I mean, at least go and check the people out who do the interviews or whatever.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I
I
mean,
would
we
be
can
so
start with
interested in
Kamisha's
that.
interviews because she got a bunch of good interviews, and so yeah, so I feel like that's something we could do. It don't even have to be nothing long. It could just be like we talk about something, but then we hit off, hit an
Absolutely.
interview.
I'm so down. I'm so down. That sounds like a lot of fun. And this is just us two sisters talking about stuff that we would
I
normally
mean, we
talk
would
about.
be
We're just
talking
sharing
anyway.
our conversation with everyone. So I'm open to talking about anything. Like for
Yes.
sure, especially her reviews her interviews. Like that sounds really fun. So I'm open to that. For
Monique is
sure.
so funny. I think that is what we're going to do, because sometimes, it's a lot of stuff that is said or focused on, especially in the chats and stuff. And like sometimes people get, I feel like I do a good job with, I can look at a situation and be like, oh, I can see where she's coming from, and I can see where that person's coming from. Like, instead of being like, this person, I'm all on their side, but I don't do that. So I feel like that'll be good for conversation, because you don't do that either. And so I feel like we both could see, come from different sides or whatever. So we'll try it out and see if everybody likes it, because it's a bunch of interviews that I would love to get your take on, and kind of just throw something back back and forth like we normally do in our conversations. Like, y'all, this would be a conversation this would have been a phone conversation. I'd have been walking around the house doing shit,
Absolutely.
and we would have been on the phone talking about all this stuff or whatever. So
Absolutely. So this is y'all just getting to see real time sister talk.
yes, I appreciate all of y'all for hanging in there with us. Make sure y'all like the video. Make sure y'all
Yes.
following my sister, Yes I'm a Unicorn 24/7 on Instagram. Make sure y'all following Kamisha Reviews and all of the Kamisha Review crew. And yeah, that's it. So do you have any other last words or whatever, so we can get out of here? I've imposed on most of your night here.
Oh, please. No, I'm good. Actually, it was so funny you said like we would just be doing this anyway. We would, and I would be cooking, but since I wasn't, I went on ahead and ordered something.
I know that's right.
So but yeah, no, I just enjoy this. I would love to do reviews for her interviews. I think that would be so fun.
Bye,
I
Monique.
enjoy talking to you guys. I enjoy talking to you. I enjoy you guys' interaction, and this is super fun. So I just can't wait till next week. We're gonna have a lot to talk about next week. So
Yes,
I'm in.
yeah, you're right. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna end this, even though we could fucking finish talking all night, but I need
For
to
sure.
let you go, and I need to get on with my night too. So, like I said, y'all make sure y'all like the video, make sure y'all following my sister on Instagram. She does some really cool stuff. She has a superpower that I'll let you guys know about later. But we're gonna be coming out with a lot of other things, because I mean, why not?
Why not?
So
We
we'll
out
see
here.
y'all next time on, we're gonna call this, what are we gonna call this? Like
Those
talking
two
with those two
sisters
sisters?
live with
Those
those
two
two
sisters.
sisters. I don't know.
Those two sisters. Those the number two sisters. SISTAS. Look at the hashtag that I put in the title. And yeah. That's it. We out. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.